Hi, I'm Saul Sunforge, and welcome to Dungeons and Taverns. Today's episode of the Dirty 20, we see Asgrim entering the goblinoid city of Klogsniek. To give a recap of last session, Asgrim received the aid of the help from the city of Amilda Alda of the Elves, as well as the dwarven city of Khazgador. These alliances came together to defend the city of Rivenheart. During the defense of the city, Asgrim learned the identity of the attackers. The undead faction known as the Reborn have sworn their eternal enemy, Rivenheart. Yes, you're still in Rivenheart. The
Yeah.
battle has just ended, and all the damages are being surveyed, and any fires and things that have been started from the destruction are being snuffed out. There's corpse piles that are starting to be lit, and
I hope that's only the undead.
well, yeah.
Okay. Because I actually have something I want to do.
Okay, what's that?
So I want to find someone in the city that actually has some artistic skills.
Some artistic skills.
Yeah.
Okay, roll high low.
You know what I go with.
All right.
You want me to roll or you're rolling?
I'll roll it, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Damn it.
Unfortunately, amongst all the chaos, the post battle, and survivors looking for each other and things like that, you're not able to find anybody in any reasonable amount of time that happens to have artistic skills.
Okay. Then I'm gonna find one of the citizens of of Rivenheart,
Okay.
preferably a younger person, not like a child, but a younger.
Orc,
I
orc, elf, drow.
It doesn't really matter.
Okay. All right.
I am gonna give them the floating book, the one that writes down everything it hears.
Okay. You find a young female orc child.
Hopefully not too young.
No, not terribly young. She's probably about 11.
And that's a little too young for what I want.
Okay. All right. So you search.
I would accept late teenager and like up to mid 20s.
All right. So you find a young blonde human gentleman who looks to be about 19 years old. He looks like he's searching along the riverbed for something.
I go up to him. Do you
Uh,
need help?
Ah, hello. Well, I'm looking for my mother.
Hmm.
I seem to
Oh,
have lost her in the scuffle.
to me, it looks like you need to focus on something important. We will find your mother no matter what. What I need you to do is take this book, go around, gather the names, the title, and the their place of birth and family name, if they're willing to give it, of anyone that has died in this battle. If you can know of anyone that has any artistic skills who is able to draw, I would like for them to draw a picture
Th-
of the person who has died.
this seems like it's going to be of considerable cost.
I just lean forward, look him straight in the eyes. The cost has already been paid by their blood. This is to honor their memories, their sacrifice, to protect your home, to protect the future of everyone's home here.
You're
It's
not
it's the
not
least
telling
we.
You're not telling me anything that I don't know, but it's not my service you're requesting.
I am requesting your help.
Well, I shall help you gather these names. I shall try to find an artist who is willing to take on such a task. But it does not seem like a task that can be done in a modest amount of time. What shall I
If
do once I've gathered an artist and the names?
just leave the book here in the city where I can acquire it again, and tell the artist if he requires payment for the job, then he can come talk to me. I should be back in not too long.
Very well. I will see to this task.
And then there's one more person I need to find, and that's the engineer, the gnome.
Yeah, you're saying this out of character?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Stubbins.
Yeah, Stubens, that was his name.
Mm-hmm.
My brain's melting into
It's fine. It's fine. I don't remember every name. Yeah, certainly.
The only reason why I remembered the goblin's name was because I've written it down.
Who, Flux?
No, the other one.
Oh.
The one I was going to see down in
Oh yeah. Oh.
Atticus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Atticus, sorry. It's a she.
Well, I don't know that until I see them. Why, hello there.
You were given those details. All right. So after you get this blonde boy who you've not yet asked his name
It doesn't matter.
to do this task. What would you like to do?
Well, then my other task for this thing I'm trying to do right now is to find Stupens.
Right. All right. So you go ahead and give me a perception check.
God damn it.
Yeah, you look around and sort of beyond where Tim is standing, out in the outskirts of like the field, across the waterway, from where all the encampments are set up, you're able to see Stubbins, and he's looks like he's surveying the land beyond the tree line to determine the best places where a road would be able to go. But you see him out there looking uh, beyond the farmland and through the valley of trees.
Well, I go up to Tim and put a hand on his shoulder. Thank you for your help protecting this.
Oh, uh, hmm. You scared me.
That was funny.
What?
You were so girly when you did that.
Thank you.
And it's even more funny since I know the description of Tim.
Oh, I thought you were going up to Stubbins. I didn't know you were. Okay, I thought you were bypassing Tim and going up to Stubbins.
No, because you said Tim was
Yeah.
between me and Stupin. So of course I go to Tim first to thank.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that was stupid. Okay, so Tim, he has sweat dripping from his brow, and he's wearing a woolen cap despite the temperature outside. He takes it off and wipes the sweat, and when he feels your hand touch his shoulder, he turns around and he looks down. Oh, hey, it's you.
Yes, I heard that Rivenheart was facing danger, so I came as fast as I could.
Yeah, well, I just arrived yesterday myself. I just
Well,
it seems like everything that they had set up was already in preparation. Like they knew something was going to happen. I just happened to help out as I could.
well, I thank you, nevertheless.
I gotta say, when I signed up for this, I didn't realize that I would be having to defend it so soon.
Neither did I. I'm just grateful that you were here.
Oh, it's not that big of a deal. I don't seem to be too hurt. I could use a hot meal, though.
Um, is there? I look at him. Is there any larger hut in the building that has a stove or something?
Um, the orc encampment, they have a black kettle out over suspended from a large stick, hanging up over a fire.
Do we have any iron lying around?
Yeah, there's some iron ingots that have been started to be shipped in by caravan, so there's a few.
Okay, I will make sure that there's a stove you guys can cook a proper meal on, of a larger size before I leave. It's the least I can do. Make sure that everyone has the ability to get a hot meal.
I'm sure that would be greatly appreciated. We're we're running 12-hour shifts as it is.
Uh, but I need to speak to Stupins. But I just saw you here and I wanted to thank you for your assistance. But also, there's tools are coming soon. They're on the way from Amilda Alda.
Very well. I'll be on the lookout for such tools and pass them out as need be.
There should also be tents and some carts and so sleeping arrangements should be more comfortable.
The tents should definitely be needed, as there have been a few stragglers I've noticed coming into the settlement, and it seems like there's a need of certain supplies.
I arranged so a variety of supplies would arrive as well. I didn't expect any of you to just fend on your own once you got here, so of course I have been working hard to try and procure everything.
In,
But
in case you're wondering, my master freed me early from the contract on the king's behest. In case you were wondering why I'm here earlier than I stated.
I was thinking that you were here a little earlier than you were supposed to, but I just thought that he found another man.
No, King Bernard personally saw to my release.
I will have to thank him. Bernard's a good man.
Yeah, he used to be. Well, he's still a good man, but he was more formidable in his younger years. Whatever happened to him recently has made it so that he's having a difficult time even walking.
The one fight no one wins. Aging. But thank you again, Tim.
Very well, I'll be off.
And then I go over to Stupin.
All right. So you go over to Stubbins, and he seems to be putting his hand up to shield his face from the light coming in off the hill, over top of the trees that he's overlooking, and he's like widening his hands, and he's doing different gestures, like trying to picture something. He seems to be preoccupied by that and doesn't notice your approach.
I get a crooked smile on my face. And then I sneak up behind him. So I'm right behind his ear and I go, Stupins!
Oh! Oh! I'm not deaf! You scared me.
You woke Callie up.
Oh. That was loud enough that you woke my daughter up at home. What can I do for you?
Just keeping you on your toes. But I do have something I wanted to ask you.
Very well.
One of them is a request upon the. Well, both are technically a big request upon from the city, but one is to benefit you in the short run, and one is just kind of something I would like to see made.
Well, get to the point. What is it you need?
So a lot of good people died here.
Yes, unfortunately.
I have had a young blonde man uh, go around gathering the names, rank, and title of everyone who died here, and so on, and their origins and so on, where they're from, and so on. I was thinking we make a Hall of Fallen Heroes.
That is a very admirable request. Where would the materials come from?
The materials is not that big of a deal right now. I just want you to design it and figure out the best place to put it where we can make it something aesthetically pleasing. I want you to make it in cooperation with the druid I have coming soon. That has the ability to get additional lumber for us. Because I want it to be something that both blend in, so it's aesthetically pleasing and in harmony with this area. So anyone that has any abilities that you can use here, you have the full right to utilize. I wanted it to be something made specifically to honor these people who fell in the defense of this city.
That can be done, but you should know that it comes at the cost of delaying the road connection between here and Coventry.
Like I said, it's not something that has priority. It's just something I want it made when there's time.
I see.
It's just something I feel like we must honor these people in one way or another.
That's that is
Kind
true.
of.
That is true, and that is honorable. And might I suggest then that that would be your town square, where all of the rest of your town is focused around and builds out from?
That sounds like a great idea.
Very well. We shall choose a suitable location that with that in mind, with the outward expansion in mind. The area is quite large, however, some of it is not. It's more suitable for farming than sustaining structures.
That's not an issue. If you want, we can just make some sort of creek light and pave it all over.
Very well. Is there anything else you wish to discuss? It has been some time since we've spoken.
Yes. Well, as of right now, I'm kind of in a hurry because we are actually trying to close the portal to prevent more attacks. But I wanted to ensure that some of these things got started as soon as possible. That thing is the river deep enough and strong enough to support a water wheel?
It could be made slightly deeper to support a water wheel, I suppose.
Because as far as I can see, something that would increase our productivity and make it faster for us to get proper building materials from the natural materials around here is the water wheel.
Hmm.
A water wheel would be useful that it could both be used to power a sawmill. It would also be able to power some kind of blowing device for forges and kilns and other such things.
If your card's a 6, do you go higher or lower?
Hold on. All right. So Steuben says to you, "Well, the water wheel is indeed useful. Your river here, it's more like a creek, really. It would need widened and deepened by at least 3 or 4 feet minimal. You could have support a water wheel in that case, but as it is now, there would be no use for it."
Okay. Well, it's just an idea, anyways. But I did come upon some useful information from the dwarves up north.
Oh,
There's gold in the water.
hmm. Yes. I've noticed some colors in the water. Undoubtedly washed down from the waterfall.
And which means there's most likely also other useful things, small gems, other minerals, and so on. So, yeah, it might be something worth setting up a small slough for.
Yes, if you don't have any prospectors of your own, you can hire them from Coventry. There's more than enough lads looking for a honest day's worth of work.
As of right now, we don't have any.
I'm sure some gilded members can be of assistance. However, gilded work does tend to cost a bit more or require a bit more of a share of the profits. However you arrange it.
You wouldn't know a young, adventurous person who's willing to set off on their own with the necessary skills.
Without the promise of claim or pay.
Of course, they would get a claim of it.
I'm I might be able to persuade a person or two, uh, looking to perhaps make it rich elsewhere. I'm sure I could be of assistance in this regard once I uh, make my way back to Coventry.
Oh, you shouldn't be too sure that that's your home anymore. You noticed
Well,
the big tree?
I could be persuaded perhaps to set up a
No, no,
engineer.
no, no. The deal was that you would live here permanently if I could persuade Amilda Alda for the construction of the road.
Yes, I understand this, but I'm speaking of setting up a proper guild.
Hmm? You're allowed to do exactly what you do.
Well, I understand this, but I'm saying a branch of the guild from Coventry.
Hmm?
I need to seek their permission to do so.
Hmm.
I might be able to be I might be a citizen of your city, but I still belong to the guild in Coventry. And
I don't see an issue. I think they would be more than happy to expand upon their business capabilities.
perhaps having me here will go some ways into that beneficial arrangement. I see. However, your city still is starting out, and so it would need to be able to first support such structures in place before those talks can even be brought into light.
Yeah, you might want to keep Tim around. She's the big guy.
I'm vaguely familiar with Tim. He's cut down quite a swath of trees for the guild in order for us to lay down some road. I shall keep him in mind.
As you see, we do have capable men working here. I just have a nose to find them. It's your job to figure out how to utilize them best.
Well,
But
if you're looking for additional laborers, the city, well, it's not really a neighboring city per se, but it's close enough to Coventry, Lycia. There's quite a few unemployed individuals in that city who would be very eager to help in the construction of Rivenheart.
I'll keep that in mind when I get the chance to come around there. Actually, I do have another task there, so. But as of right now, I will leave you because I need to go to Klogsniek and ensure that the people down there are safe.
That is that is quite a journey, especially going through Miller's Crossing as it is uh, right now.
I'm not going through Miller's Crossing. I'm heading back to Amilda Alda and taking a boat.
Hmm.
But I don't know if you noticed the big Ents helping in the battle.
Yes, I did. It's hard to miss something such as that.
That's the mother tree of Amilda Alda. I think we can assume that we have an alliance, maybe an unstable one, but an alliance. So I don't see a reason why the road shouldn't be able to be constructed in the future.
Very well. That shall help both nations prosper. I I think you might be onto something there.
And as far as I remember, that was the task I was given to have you live here.
Yes, peace between the nations is required in order to continue building sustainable roads. Their key contention, as I see it, is destruction of their forests.
And we just got the assistance of a druid that's able to move the trees instead.
Hey, what's up,
So,
Dova?
hey, Troll. So we would no longer need to cut the trees down. So it shouldn't be an issue anymore.
Very well. If it's as it is not an issue, then the building shall commence after the Coventry is connected to Rivenheart.
And and after I made arrangement for the road to be made in cooperation with them. As of right now, we thought that dealing with this undead threat was a little more important than talking about roads.
Yes, that would seem to have been the case. There seems to be a lot of construction that is going to need required to take place here shortly.
Is there any specific building materials you would like for me to produce while I'm here with magic to help you assist in securing this place?
Oh, well, right now, wood would be needed for some type of enclosure. This way, we can secure some of the areas where we don't have adequate watch.
So do you want lumber for that, or do you just want blocks?
I mean, logs would probably be preferable.
Okay, so you basically just need me to... How long do you want them? Do you want them in 10 feet sections? Do you want them in 20 feet sections? 15, whatever.
Well, 10 feet sections would be probably more preferable as they're more maneuverable.
Okay. Are there any trees that need to be removed in the construction of the city?
Yeah, there's substantial. I mean,
Show me which trees you need removed, and I'll use my magic to produce as many logs as I can today. And then, as soon as I've been done with that, I will leave towards Amilda Alda to go on its task. And then, what you do with those logs, I'll leave to you. But it's the least I can do to try and protect this, help the city as much as I can. Or do you want me to clear out some farmland to enable larger production of crops? But that does mean that you would need to move the logs from that location to where they're needed.
well, it depends on where on the map you wish to. And out of character, I put the map up for you, so you can see it. So it depends on where you wish to have your city center the monument. Uh, do you wish to have the more permanent structures separate from where all the semi-permanent structures and the tents are currently? And here I'll draw on the map.
What size would have the most mines on it? You're the one that surveyed the land, able to tell me what minerals and mines would be where. Because the way I see it is, the shorter the route of travel from the mine to the city would be better. So the side with most mines would, yeah.
All right, so I put numbers there next to the mines that are on that side, and the numbers go according to the size of the potential prospect there. It's on the farmland side.
I look at him. Is that side better for farmland than this side?
Well, the most ideal spot for the farmland would be in the center of the vernal pools, as that land gets more moisture regularly. The way that the land is
So
shaped,
that's
it's like a
one issue
bowl.
I have. That's one issue I have with your maps because they're so inconsistent inside that it's hard to tell which ones would be how big and so on. Because if you compare the other map to it, Coventry would be able to be inside this area about 3 or 4 times, whereas the one we're looking at right now, it wouldn't be able to be here once. So having size comparison, it would be kind of like it's kind of difficult to figure out. So that's why I'm doing these questions right now because the way that
Thanks
the
to the
land,
ice cream, Zdova.
the way the overworld map is, there would be plenty of land to support tens of thousands of people inside this valley. This map would actually have issues to support more than 3 families.
No, no, because the size it's zoomed at a different level. This map right now, I mean, if you're saying that this map would only have room for 3 families, there's already more than 3 families living on it.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm saying. That's the issue because the buildings you have on it are so large that if you have to use them for the base of it, this area would not be able to support more than 2 or 3 families. Whereas when you look on the overworld map, this area is actually large enough to contain Coventry and more.
Yeah, and I've said that several
I,
times that features
yeah,
on the world map are larger so that you can see them. That
yeah,
they
yeah.
don't they don't
That's why I'm
necessarily.
trying to figure out how big this area actually is because
bec-
they,
like I would love to create everything on the world map, but then you would have to zoom into the region to get the regional map, and then you would have to zoom in from there to get each individual little square for the battle maps.
yeah, I know. I know it's an issue. That's why I'm saying that that's my biggest issue with any map
Yeah.
in fantasy games. Like, because getting an idea of the actual size of an area is so freaking hard.
Well, that's why theater of the mind is better for a lot of things, and,
Yeah.
and preferred
So
for a lot of things.
then that's why I'm asking these questions now. Is how big is this area? Which side is better for farmland and so on? Because, well, those are the things that we need primarily to take into account.
Well, from the hill on the left to the hill on the right is about 12 miles. From this hill right here,
So this is 12 miles.
yeah, it's just I don't change the feet scale and things like that when it's not
Yeah.
battles map.
So that would mean this would be about.
Yeah, from hill to hill, right there, right those 2 lines I drew right there. That's 12 miles.
Okay, okay. I would actually say we could have a medium-sized city of about maybe 10 to 15,000 people with supporting farmlands and industry.
Yeah, it's I mean that it's probably bigger than that really, because you have all the way up to here too. It's actually a lot longer than it is wider because these hills keep going. I just didn't. I mean, like I said,
Mm.
it's just a cutout of me. I just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
zoomed in on the world map and then just redid the trees.
Mm. So the question is, Is there any mines going to be made on this side?
Yeah. I mean, it's not all prospected. The whole region hasn't been prospected yet. Just a good deal of it. And it hasn't been prospected out. Like there's no claim on it. It's just that it's been surveyed. That side's been surveyed. The other side really hasn't.
Hmm. Yeah, then the only question that really matters is which side would actually be better suited for farmland?
Well, like it shows you on this map right here. There's two farms already in view.
Mm. So that means the farmer has already been looking over the line, so that side would be better for farmland. So I say we make the city on this side.
All right.
And I assume there's enough farmland of right now to produce food for everyone.
Yeah, these farms are able to produce enough food for everyone that's there now. Yeah.
Okay. Well then, show me the trees that you want removed, and then I just make them into 10 feet sections of log. And I use the remaining spell slots I have for it at 4th and 5th level.
So so out of character, are you wanting the farmland to be increased? Like, are you wanting to so this way you're able to support more people, or are you wanting to focus on increasing the space for more people?
Well, wouldn't help to get more people if there's not the food to support them. So,
Okay.
farmland.
All right. Well, these trees right here, this group of trees right here needs to be thinned out so the road can go through to Coventry.
Well, those are the ones that get fabricated and into 10 feet sections of log.
All right. All
I
right.
had one remaining 5th level, and I had 4 remaining 4th level spells.
All right. I'll change the map for it to be reflected for next time that the map is brought up. All right. So, Steuben says, "Well, I got my work cut out for me. Is there anything else that you needed?"
Not really. I just want to ensure that right now you prioritize defensive structures until we can end this undead threat.
Do you know?
And that,
Do you know? Speaking of those undead threats, did you know who they are? If they're coming back, or I noticed they kind of just disappeared.
well, they're interested in the Dr. Fox and me. So, as long as we stay away from here, you should be relatively safe.
But where do they went with you all?
I have no idea. I have no idea what we did to piss off this Limnosius guy. The only thing we've done so far is defend ourselves against things he's done.
Hmm. You want to roll deception? I mean, unless you're, does Asgrim literally actually not know what anything that the party would have done to piss Lenosius off?
In Asgrim's eyes, we've only done things to defend ourselves that's based upon things he's done. The Gnoll attack, we stopped because it just turns out they work for him. We don't want to die. Fine, we stop this. This is a defensive action. We have never done anything directly to hurt him in his eyes.
Okay, well then, no, okay, all right. Well then, you don't need to roll then. All right. Well, I don't really know too much about this Lenosius guy, but I do know that he's somewhat of a wealthy entrepreneur overseas. Sorry, I can't really
Indeed.
tell you much more about him.
Yeah,
But I don't know what he'd want to, with you all though.
neither do I. So I tend to go to Klogsniek,
Mm-hmm.
secure the safety of as many people as I can right there,
Mm-hmm.
and then go find the doctor and Fox and figure out what's going on. And yeah, well, then we are gonna try and close the portal down to the south, since the doctor actually already possesses something we need to, yeah, close the portal.
And as you're over there talking to Stubbins, you see that Emil Alda is kind of sinking its roots into the ground to help sustain itself, but it's like in a semi-permanent position at the moment, and you see a gathering of a lot of the people that you came here with, that traveled uh, inside the tree with you all, and they're kind of gathering up on the hill, and they turn to look down over your direction, and they're waving you to come on over.
I turn to Stephen. I seem to be summoned,
And
but
he says, "Well, very well. It looks like this place is going to look quite a bit different the next time you return."
I look forward to seeing your ingenuity.
And then he turns to walk towards the trees that you have indicated that you wanted to be cleared out. And
Oh, it wasn't that. I was going to use the remaining of my spells for today to clear out as many as I could.
right, but you don't have to be present for that, do you?
To use my own spells?
Like you can't set it in motion like as if it's like an unseen servant.
No, because I don't have Unseen Servant or Familiar. So I need to be within 120 feet to cast the spells, but the spell is a one action. So
Right, and
it's,
that's right. So you're doing these actions as you're talking to him.
yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I just take them and move them towards a location he wants them indicated to be at. So they're closer to where he wants them for the end thing he wants to use them for.
Right.
And then I clear out as many trees as possible. And then I go to the hill.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so you go to the hill, and the head huntress Izel is out there waiting for you, and she everybody kind of parts ways a bit waiting for you, and she asks you, so now that we've defended Rivenheart, what is it that you wish to do, Sir Asgrim? What is your plans?
My plans was to go to Klogsniek and see if I could save some people down there and ensure their safety. And then to find the doctor so we could close this damn portal.
I see. I can assist you in some of your goals. I can get you to Klogsniek rather quickly, but to find the location of the doctor will require a little bit of scrying.
Well, we do know that she's in Dahlia classes.
Dahlia Carnassus is a rather large city. If you don't know where you're going specifically, the chances you running into somebody randomly are rather low. But do you have a ship?
I have a ship. If you remember Jinx, he offered his ship in assistance. He even offered me to ferry me down to Klogsniek to transport as many people as he could to safety. Of younglings and women.
While Klogsniek does have a port of sorts, if you want to call it that, it's really just an underground cave. But if you want to go to Klogsniek via ship, then you shall anchor out a ways. Their port is only used by their kind, and it would be seen as a hostile action if you just pull into their port unannounced.
I shall remember this.
I could I could get you there faster just by just ushering you there, just as we came to this city.
Yes, but the question is, will they see that as a hostile action, having a giant ant approaching upon the territory?
I that actually would be a good question. However, I suspect that they've had larger encroaching on their territory, and I would be remiss to say that I wouldn't drop you right at their doorstep.
Yes, but that would just leave me at the disadvantage of when I need to leave.
You plan on causing trouble?
No, so when I get there, it would be hard to save anyone if I have to walk from there back to Amilda Alda to get on Jake's ship to go to Dahlia Canassus. And I feel that your presence is more of a greater benefit to everyone in defense of, yeah. So I will be heading to Amilda Alda to meet up with Jinx again. And then we take the ship down.
Yes, even though the mother tree is here with us, the rest of the city should still be functioning rather normally. Uh, it's designed to function even with the absence of the mother tree for a short while. The harbor, the dock should still be open to you.
Thank you. But as of right now, I am not of much use in here. My present would, as a messenger, is better utilizing of my abilities to ensure the safety of citizens of Klogsniek, and then to ensure that we get a hold of the doctor. But one thing I actually could use was, some kind of shrine device that would lead me to her.
Very well. On our journey back to root myself properly, uh, we we shall be able to scry on her whereabouts. Do you happen to have any of her personal effects that she has recently carried on her person, or better yet, worn?
Sadly, no. But I do have something that links us. I pull out the amulet from the Feywild. She carries one of these that was have been in hers has been in physical contact with mine. So has the one that Foxodon Haval carries.
That should suffice. You'll get maybe not exact as if it was an item that she has used or worn recently, but you should get a rather closer picture of where to start your search in such a large city. And then the head huntress says, "Very well, shall we?" And she is trying to escort you and the other dignitaries that are traveling back. Some of the people who traveled here indeed stay, like the general and Erasmus's personal guard, Diogi. He stays here as well, and he looks on you, and he reminds you that the agreement in order for him to help you was for you to uh, find or seek the whereabouts of his wife, Espioti.
I will do my very best in my travels to locate her.
And then he pops you a salute, um, and he goes back down the hill, and you see him start to go grab some of the logs that were recently placed there. And Ezel gets into the mother tree, and she assumes her place on the throne. And as she sits down on the throne, these gnarled roots come down and wrap themselves around her arms and her waist, and kind of hold her in place. And then you feel the roots that are holding deep into the hillside start to loosen and slowly let loose as large chunks of dirt go flying, and then eventually the tree itself starts moving, and it starts picking up speed. And so the head huntress Izel, she opens her eyes, and you can see that the colors of her normal pupils and everything, they're it's completely whited over, and she tells you to place the amulet down on her throne.
I do so.
All right, and so as you do that, you can see some of the mechanical contraptions that are located in this area, this hollow. Some the ones that Erasmus and Fenris came out of that platform. There is this large globule contraption, and it starts spinning a little bit faster, and it has a metallic ring that's spinning opposite around it. So as this contraption is spinning vertically, the contraption is going around horizontally, and eventually you actually see a picture develop, and you are able to see the doctor. You're able to see her cast this large ball of fire. And looks like she's in a graveyard or a cemetery of some type, and you see that she casts this large ball of fire up a hill at some vampires who are coming out of a mausoleum. And then you're able to see Jack uh, running around rather fast as Fox is jumping over a creek, and it looks like they're scrambling to light some type of candle or incense in key locations as they're being chased down by a bunch of ravenous ghouls. And then the head huntress Izel says, "This is the graveyard district located in the park district of Dahlia Carnassus."
Mm.
How
Well,
long ago this image is from, I cannot say, but it has to be rather recent. Within the last 24 hours.
well, it gives me a place to start, anyways.
After about another 15 minutes or so, the treant slowly comes to a stop, and the head huntress herself loose the roots around her that are tangling her loosen up, and the throne that was formed of the roots comes way and frees her from her position, and she gets down from the dais and goes down the stairs and says, "Come along." And the tree itself finishes settling back down, which is a process that takes about 3 or 4 minutes, and it starts sinking its roots back down into the recently disturbed ground. And these roots are rather huge, so it made these large cavernous pits in the ground itself, and they just kind of slink back into place. And it uses other roots to kind of cover the roots that it just recently dug into the ground. But it settles back down, and the path and everything kind of sort of aligns with where it's at, but everything needs to settle back to where its location was. But the head huntress says to you, looks like your ship awaits you," and points down and off the coast. You can see the ship that's anchored, and you can see a crew working the sails and to try to raise the sails up. And you can see that there's a rowboat going from the ship back to the dock, and one going from the dock to the ship.
Indeed, it does look like that. I thank you for your assistance, and I hope that our cooperation will be fruitful for all parties in the future.
Yes, I suppose that your short stay here has perhaps taught some lessons that sometimes your neighbors can become a trusted ally, at least in time, but it shall take more than just one short combat excursion.
Indeed. And I hope to prove ourselves trustworthy by closing this portal as fast as possible.
Yes, these portals do seem to be a menace and seem to be uncovered or pop up with more frequency. And it is alarming. And if there's any way to halt or even reverse them, it shall be for the best of many a people, I suspect.
I know one of the main issues that have been bothering both Coventry and you is the construction of a road between our countries. If we were to construct this road without harvesting any trees, would that be okay? Just to ease the travel between Rivenheart and Amilda Alda?
That that should be perfectly fine if what you claim can be done. However, that road would have to be exceedingly longer than needed to avoid a single tree being felled.
I was thinking that we might be able to do it with the aid of magic and that we have.
I suspect it would take some time, but yes, this sounds like a reasonable request.
Because of course we do not want to reiterate any past mistakes, so we want to respect your ways as well. So yeah.
Who would we have patrolling the road to ensure that it is secure?
Well, sadly to begin with, we won't be able to do much from Rivenheart side, but I will assume that many of our citizens who do go out hunting and so on will actually use it to try and sell some of their surplus supplies in Amilda Alda, and thereby giving some kind of patrol.
This all seems rather reasonable. I feel that a road could be constructed from Coven from Coventry to Rivenheart, from Rivenheart to Emil Alda. However, I feel even with the aid of magic, and if enough workers were to be procured, that this project would take no less than 3 months' time.
Yeah, but as of right now, there's more pressing matters. So, but it's something that we needed to get out of the way.
Very well. I will see if any there are any citizenry here in need of any work, and I shall send them to Rivenheart. Well, not personally, but I shall send the order to have them be sent via caravan to Rivenheart.
It is much appreciated.
However, their tab shall be tallied, and uh,
Well, I didn't expect any less.
I shall give you the balance of that tab next we meet.
Sounds reasonable. And as a down payment, or as a deposit, I put down 1,000 gold.
That is very generous. That shall procure workers most expediently.
I did not expect you to pay out of your own pocket. So, since we don't know what the total will be, well, this is just a small gesture.
We shall have to send a contingency of troops to ensure the safety of the workers, however. But this down payment is appreciated to start those to start the work needed to lay down a secure road.
But I will see myself off to make my way towards Klogsniek. And again, thank you for your assistance.
Very well, I shall not keep you any further. May your travels be safe. Well, safer than recent past, I
Thank
suppose.
you.
If you find any more information about that undead threat, I shall be most curious.
Well, we do know that an individual called Lenosius is involved in this, that they are attacking upon his command. We also know Lenosius is in charge of Dalia Knesses.
Hmm. A very potent enemy. If there ever was a city that could pose a threat to an entire continent, that would be it.
Indeed.
I shall keep this in mind. Fare thee well. And so at this point, it's about 3 p.m. or so, and the harbor master is there filing some paperwork in a cabinet, and he looks up at you, and he says, I seem to remember your face. Can I help you?
I am just here to catch my ride.
Ah, yes. Well, I see that all your paperwork is in order and it's signed by the appropriate authorities. You are free to come and go as you please.
Thank you.
And all fees for your friend who had the dock have been waived. So let him know that as well.
I will. Thank you.
And soon after a few minutes, a rowboat approaches up next to the dock, and he looks up at you and he motions to the staircase leading down to the smaller dock that has a rope that he's securing his little rowboat to.
I go down there.
He says, "Yeah, you need a ride, sir. I've been instructed to bring you aboard."
Indeed, I do.
Very well. Do you have any belongings that you wish to procure before we disembark?
I kind of tap my bag of holding and say, "It's all in here."
Very good, very good. And then he undoes the rope after you secure a spot, and he hands you a set of oars, and he says, "This passage is going to require your assistance too, sir."
Sadly, I am not as experienced as you or as strong, but I will do what I can.
uh, uh, no, all right. So after a little instruction where he shows you how to use them, one at a time on one side, turns it, and using them both helps you at the same time helps you propel it forward. You're able to make your way to the larger wooden craft. It's definitely seen better days. You can tell that the side of this craft has seen extensive damage more than once, and it's been repaired more than once. And it creaks a little bit loudly as you approach. But all in all, it seems that it's not taking on water in any of the places that it's been repaired. And so from up on the deck, you see your dragonborn friend. He lets down he lets down a rope ladder for you to climb, and Jinx says, "Come on, climb, come aboard."
I climb up. I say, "The keen smiles upon you, good friend."
And he helps you up the rest of the way, and he then pulls the ladder up, and he gives you a smile, and he says, how did the battle go? I take it you won, and since you're here and relatively in one piece, it looks like."
Well, we won the battle. The war still rages.
That's the way with wars, it seems.
But I bring you good tidings. Your fees has been waived.
Oh, well, that will save me quite a few coins then. That is very good news. So, Well, what news do you have? I haven't seen you for a little bit of time. You want to tell me about what you've been up to there?
Well, trying to survive and keep people alive, basically.
Yeah, it seems that that's part of what you've been doing all along so far.
Yeah, and I thought being a scholar would be safe and easy. Oh, boy, was I wrong.
Well,
But I wouldn't trade it for the world.
combat scholar, make yourself a new profession.
Oh, hell no.
All right,
But
so
I wouldn't have been able to meet the people I've met, have the adventures or the knowledge gained that I have without all this.
that's true.
Uh,
I'm sure if you wanted to, if you had any type of singing voice or any type of inclination, you could call yourself a bard and make yourself a pretty penny off your story, I imagine.
Most likely.
Probably sell it to the paper in Coventry and make yourself a little bit of money there too.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna be a local tale for Rivenheart.
Ah, well, I might bring your town some renown.
Indeed. And also, it just seems that your travels to Rivenheart will be easy in the future, since I just arranged for a road to be made between Amilda Alda and Rivenheart.
That's going to be a rather decently extensive road through some forested area, through some swamp too. How'd you manage to pull that off?
Vakeen smiled upon me, and we were able to make a rather fortunate arrangement due to, yeah, our current experience.
Well, so where to now?
Klogsniek.
Well, oh, that's fine. The sailing over to Klogsniek shouldn't be too bad. Just gotta sail around the Cape here, and it should be smooth sailing. You'll be able to see the fires nicely for Miller's Crossing too.
Yeah, that is the sad part, though.
Well, I guess it really couldn't be helped too much since they were really the first line of defense, I suppose. Although can't really hold up too much of a defense there, but their sacrifices shouldn't go in vain, I suspect.
I will do my part to honor their memories at least.
I don't know why a port city such as Miller's Crossing wouldn't be defended by well fortified gates in the first place. Seems like something that they would want to have, but maybe they thought because the swamp was there, they'd be fine. And the jungle on the other side.
Probably.
Anyway, it shouldn't be too long for us to sail over to Klogsniek. But I don't think they have a port.
Oh, they have a port, but we won't be using it because if we use it, we will most likely be attacked. So we would stop right outside the Klogsniek, and I would try and make my way into the city.
So you're wanting to anchor somewhere out where it's safe and then take a rowboat into the beach, huh?
Indeed.
Well, yeah, we could do that. We got more than enough rowboats here.
And then your men can get a laugh at me rowing a boat.
I'm sure I could have one of my men row you out.
Ah, it's all good. It's dark times. They deserve a little bit of humor.
Well, by the time we get there, it's gonna be nightfall. Are you trying? You think you're gonna make make your way over to the beach at night, or are you gonna wait until the morning?
Well, it would probably be safer at night, although the undeads don't use sight as much as we rely upon it.
Well, out that way, you're gonna have more to worry about from those large reptiles than the undead, I imagine.
Oh, those are not an issue.
And as you're all talking, the anchor chain has been lifted, and the anchor comes out the water, and the ship is starting to catch wind as the sails are being unfurled. And this is a rather large ship. It's more of a battleship that has been converted into a merchant ship. Like there's still cannons on it and things, but it's definitely doesn't have the armaments of a full blown military vessel. Um, but there's harpoon guns in the front, and there's a large proper crow's nest, and Jinx says to you, "Well, are you want to go below decks or get yourself something to eat, or what are you planning on doing? You got your sea legs about you?" As
This is one of the first time I've ever traveled by ship.
as you notice that the ship is rocking back and forth on each crest of the wave and dipping down very hard as the wave breaks, and you're having a hard time keeping your balance as you're swaying back and forth a bit. Do you want to roll a con save to see if you start puking everywhere?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Of course I do.
Oh yeah, so you're swaying as he's asking you if you got your sea legs, and he's concerned because of how much you're swaying already, and he's like,
I do the classic. I say, this is one of the, and then I just keel over the side.
uh, so you start puking over the side of the ship, splattered some puke all over the deck, and he's like, calm down, Asgrim. We haven't even hardly even left the shoreline yet. we, the waves are going to get much worse as we get out to sea.
I just kind of look up and go like, oh, water.
But maybe we shouldn't go too far out to sea. Maybe we should stick to the shoreline. Oh, you're going to be about 20 pounds lighter by the time we get there.
Death, give me death, sweet release of.
All right, well, get your act together. Once you do that, then we'll go below decks. It's not so bad that once you have something to hang on to, I suppose. For the love of Joaquin, somebody get over here and clean this up. Ah, and he goes over to unfurl some rope, and you see that he's loosening some sails to catch more wind. As the wind changes directions on which way it's breaking, he moves the sails to counteract that, so that the sail is always catching the most wind that it can. And he says to you, so what is your goal over there in that city of goblins?
I tend to try and save as many as we can and ensure that they are at least safe. But other than that, not much. I was hoping to find another castle.
Well, not too many people know where their city is, so it should be relatively safe. I've only been there once, but they were fighting somebody. Who were they fighting? Uh, some some underground dwarves. They were fighting those guys. Uh,
Kroger?
I don't know what they're called. I just remember they were dwarves. They were very mean, and they didn't like my kind too much. Well, they didn't like too much of any kind, as I recall.
That indeed beat it. Kroger.
Well,
If you don't mind, I just.
yeah, go get your bearings about you. I'll make sure that we get to where we're going. You get your bearings about you. As you
Got any
as you
tips?
see as you see little schools of fish now swarming around your chunks of puke in the water, munching it down. He says, "You want some tips?" He's like, yeah, make sure you look at a point in the distance and keep your eyes focused on that point. So eventually you'll go ahead and you'll get your sea legs about you. Just try not to fight it. It's like, yeah, you'll get your balance back faster if you try not to fight it. It's like if you find that you're swaying too much, just close your eyes and then just reopen them after about a minute or so. You'll be fine.
Okay, I'll be over here dying.
It's not all serious as that.
I tried to follow his advice and.
So as the ship makes its way around the cape and you make your way past the city of Zenthal, that's the neighboring city to Amilda Alda, and eventually you make your way towards where you can see Miller's Crossing. You know, the first mate who's up in the crow's nest. He spots land and he rings a bell and lets everybody down below. He signifies the land, and everybody is looking off of the port bow, and he says, "Land, land," and you can see as you're passing it by the docks for Miller's Crossing, and some of the buildings are on fire, and you can see lights from somewhere in the city flickering, and there are some sounds of combat, and you can indeed see that there is fighting still going on. There's a lot of bodies that are strewn along the pier, and there are corpses dotting the beach, and but it looks like the fighting is still ongoing. And Jinx says, kind of out loud, kind of to you, it looks like at least they still have their electricity. The market still seems to be open, and he kind of points to where the electricity is. It's sort of flickering, and he says, "Well," he's like, "looks like the resium crystal is running out, though." They use the resium crystals to power their lights.
Mm, they are very useful indeed.
Like, well, it's like when we get our hands on them, sometimes we ship them over to. Well, we did ship them to Miller's Crossing, and then they made their way to Coventry from there. But yeah, over by Dahlia Carnassus, you'll be able to find quite a few, but most of them are guarded. he says to you, "Well, we'll be going around the jungle, and we'll be making our way to Klogsniek here, probably within an hour or two." Um, and he says,
Face Vakeen.
to you, I actually might take the rowboat in with you. There's a few things there that I wanted to go to the market and see if I could purchase."
Let's hope the market is still there then.
Well, yeah, that would be very bad. It put a wrench in my plans if it wasn't. Let's hope you're right. So after, like I said, it's nightfall now. The sun's gone down out this horizon about a half hour ago, and it's turning to nightfall, and it's partly cloudy, but you can see that there's you can definitely see stars in the sky, and the Jinx and the first mate they lower a boat down into the water, and they lower the rope ladder down after it, and Jinx climbs down at first, and then he instructs you to follow. And once the rowboat has four people in it, it's decently cramped, but it has four people in it, uh, and three of them are rowing, Jinx included, rowing to shore, and the water's rather, it's rather calm at this portion of the night. You finally make your way to the beachfront, and it's a rather sandy shoal that kind of slopes up towards the jungle, and you can go ahead and give me a perception check. You don't see any undead threats, but you do see what you can identify as a pterodactyl up in the sky that is strafing the beach, and it doesn't seem to it flew over you and then past you. It didn't seem to be trying to target you, but and then over the tops of these tropical excuse me, over the top of these palm trees, you're able to see the large head of some type of dinosaur. Its skin is some sort of red in the darkness. You can't really tell what he's doing, but you're able to see that he's at least taller than these trees. And so Jinx tells you, well, up this from the beachfront, up this path here into the jungle, we got about 15-minute walk or so, and then there's a cave that leads downwards, and it'll eventually lead to a large cave system. The city of Klogsniek is located in that cave system itself.
I'll lead the way.
All right, so he pulls out his cutlass, and he's making a swath through some of the larger overgrowth, and eventually the cuts that he makes into these thick reeds and bushes leads to an actual path, and that path eventually leads to a cave, and uh, you know he points out to you that there are two dwarven gentlemen outside of this cave entrance, and he says to you, "Well, those clearly aren't goblins. It's your call. What do you want to do? Do you just want to go up and talk to them, or do you think they're friendly, or what should we do?" And they have black boots on, and they're wearing plate. They don't have a helmet on, but you can see that they have their weapon out to their sides. They're currently just, they're not patrolling, but they are on lookout.
Are they are their skin more grayish, or is it?
Oh, it's kind of hard to discern that as it is dark out as well.
Okay, dancing light. I cast it at 60 feet range, and I did have it move around like an insect, and then pass over them so they get like, the- yeah,
All
lit up.
All right, so as they're looking around in the darkness, all of a sudden, there's this bright light in front of them, and they're like, oh! You see them trying to swat at the light, and you could indeed tell that these are Duergar, and they're trying to swat at the light, and they sort of seem afraid of it.
Hmm. Yes, indeed, they do not like light. So,
The one
well,
on the right brandishes his weapon and starts trying to slice at the light.
well, I have it move out of the way and into the trees like some kind of insect, and then disappear.
All right. High or low? A high, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you always. I still have to give you the option. All right, and so as the light goes off into the tree, uh, both both of these Duergar who are standing watch go and actually go into the tree line and give chase to this light.
I look at Jinx and I just like, after you.
And Jinx kind of looks at you and like as if he's saying, "Did you mean to do that?" And he just kind of gives a resounding, "Well, it worked. Let's go." And so down you go, walking the cave path, and eventually the small cave opens up to a large, colossal cave system. And I will. This is an incarnate, so you have to look at the stream if you want to see the map, just so I can zoom in and out of areas I
Yeah,
need to.
I was already looking at your screen.
Okay. All right, I'll be right back. I go to the restroom. All right, so you walk down the path, and it eventually opens up to a larger cave system itself. But before you're able to see what all is beyond that, you come to a uh, kind of like a lean-to. It's a definitely a temporary building, uh, and you see a hobgoblin. He is about 6.5 feet tall or so. He has red skin with a bright reddish brown nose, and he sees you and Jinx walking down the path, and he says, "Halt, stranger! What business do you have here in the city of Cogs?"
Well, we were hoping to figure out if the undead had made any kind of advancement on this place. But it seems that it's the Duragar instead.
While our city was under Duergar occupation, most of those stragglers are the only things that are left.
Well, the two that was by the front gate just wandered off into the forest, so.
Yeah, those two are supposed to be on watch. They ran off into the forest.
Yes.
Well, I will have to reprimand them again for leaving their posts. See, some of these Duragar we've incorporated into our society. Figured it's better to have them here doing some sort of good than invading and killing our people.
Oh, that indeed is true.
The ones who would not join us met a proper end. Suffice it to say, we prevailed.
That pleases me.
So, what is your business in the city? Now that you know that the undead threat has not arrived, at least yet.
Well,
Um,
I was planning to offer assistance in bringing some of the youngs and women to Amilda Alda, and from there they could seek refuge other places. And there among I would offer the Rivenheart, which is my own city, as an option as well. But sadly, Rivenheart is being rather hardly attacked at the moment, so I don't think that would be a safer option compared to this.
he says to you, I, Jacoro, captain of the Proudmane Banner, welcome you to the city of Cogs. I shall tell you that our city is well protected against any possible undead threat. We have withstood many threats in our civilization's history. However, his race is not allowed here.
Jinx?
Whatever his name is, yes.
I looked at Jinx, and so the other individual can't see my face, and then I blink, and then I turn back. But Jinx is just my servant.
His kind tend to cause trouble wherever they go.
Oh, this one will merely do a bit of trading on my behalf. If he does anything else, well, his tail will be rolling, and I offered it up as a meal to you.
He says, I suppose if he's your servant and you take full responsibility for anything he does, that shall suffice. And he pulls out a logbook and he asks you your name, any titles, where you hail from, your business in the town, how long you'll be staying for, and where you'll be staying.
Oh, we will only be here shortly. I plan to be leaving rather quickly. My personal uh, reason to come here was, as I said, to offer up safe passage if you were under siege from the undeads, who seem to be working with some other organization or individual. So it's a rather not just mindless undead approaching.
I find that one of the good things about living in a cave underground is that unless people know where you're at and come intentionally seeking you, they have a very small chance of finding you.
That is indeed a good defense mechanism.
I shall request further enforcements at the main entrances.
Oh, I also seek the knowledge of one Atticus.
Ah, yes, the chief inventor. What can she do for you?
I was told to seek her out by what was his name? The mage in Coventry,
Crispin.
Crispin of Coventry.
Well, that is a high recommendation. She comes highly recommended by lots of dignitaries. Are are you part of the royal court of Coventry?
Yes and no. I come as an emissary of Coventry, but I am not part of the court officially. But I do have land in the position in the region as well. So I am a noble of Coventry that works as an emissary of Coventry during these dangerous times.
All right. Well, here, let me. So he pulls out a map of the city, and he says that if you are trying to find Atticus, that you need to go to Creation Row, which is next to the scrap heap in the bathhouse. He says that the layout of the city is that the higher caste members are up higher in elevation, such as it were, as this cave it's a multi-tiered structure, and he explains the pathways to you, how you would have to walk to get there, saving you time if you wish to go straight there.
I do. I turn to Jinx. I do believe you already have a list of the items that we need. I'll see. So see to that we acquire these items and behave. Otherwise, that tail of yours would be gone again. And then I just wink while looking away from the other dude.
Out of character, you're gonna have to remind me what those items exactly were.
I have no idea. It was the ones that Jinx wanted.
Okay, I'll have to go back and watch some episodes. Then it sounds like.
Oh, you just mentioned that Jinx wanted to go to the market. I just gave him an excuse to go to the market
Oh,
as my servant.
yeah. Okay, I thought you were talking about from past episodes. He definitely he had to go to the market for something right now. All right. So as the captain Jacoro, he opens the gates to the city for you, and he motions you in. And as you look into this cave, it widens out to basically a circle. And so along the outer edges of this cave structure are a lot of the shops and things. But in between, you can see that there are majority of these buildings are tents fashioned from unknown leather to you. But they are rather sturdy, and the leather is rather heavy and rugged looking. And between every so often, every one of these tents, like every 5 or 6 tents, there is a actual well dug into this otherwise mossy stone floor of this cave. Uh, there is a little bit of natural light coming in through the roof of this structure, which is so high up that you actually can't even see it. But you're able to see some rays of sunlight that are coming through and hitting random spots every once in a while. So it's rather can be treated as dim light, except in certain parts where if it's needed, I'll identify those. Uh, but as you're walking in, you can see that there's a lot of beggars along the side with their hands out. They have wooden bowls out to you, begging you for alms. They're mostly goblins. However, you do see that there is one rather large bugbear, rather slender and tall, and he is kicking the shit out of this goblin who's on the ground. He's just kicking him in the ribs, and I don't. And as you keep walking past all that, the smell hits you. It's
If I see him kicking that goblin, I go
uh-huh.
like, what did that one do?
Who are you saying that to?
The bugbear.
Oh, you're saying that to the bugbear who's kicking him?
Yeah.
Uh, the bugbear says, Chonzo no like goblin. He owe money. Gambling debts. None of your business.
How much gambling debt?
50 gold.
It clearly seems that he won't be able to pay it off if you keep abusing him like that.
I won't kill him. Just play.
How about this? How if I gave you 35 gold now and you just left and the debt was settled? And I take this one off your hands. I switched to undercommon. It's 35 gold more than you had before.
That is true. 35 gold would buy me quite a bit of food. Okay. We have a deal. You take him. And then he says to the goblin who's spitting out blood, holding his ribs and wheezing, he says to him, but you no gamble no more.
Oh, he won't have time to gamble. He will be working.
And the busted up goblin looks up at you with one eye squinted, more busted shut, and he kind of just resigns his head down to the ground, like all of his strength is kind of sapped away. And Chonzo leaves the area.
I look at him. Can you stand up?
With some help, maybe. Who are you?
I am your employer as of now. I speak in Goblin to him.
Why did you stop him?
I didn't see a reason for the abuse, so I give him a minor healing potion. Drink.
What is this? You didn't save me just to poison me, I imagine.
No. I am new to this place and I need a guide. And I need someone to tell me how to navigate in this culture as well. So this seemed like a good opportunity.
I see. So once you leave the city, I'm free?
Well, seeing that you as of now owe me about 100 gold. But drink the potion, you'll feel better. You really do.
He drinks the potion, seeing no other recourse at the moment. And he does start to feel better. And he's still holding his ribs and wincing. But he says, I think I can walk now. And he's walking with you and Jinx. And you guys all start walking to a rather large, substantial hole that is permeating the middle of this cavern. Uh,
I look at the goblin. What's your name?
well, you could call me Freddy, if you wish.
So was it true that you have gambling debt?
Yeah, I lost my job at the mine and developed a little bit of a cough from the mine and well, a drinking problem.
So you are actually an experienced miner.
Yeah, I am. Well, was.
Mm.
Oh, I still am experienced, but I don't have a job as of right now.
Well, seems that you're in luck.
Why is that?
I have a city that has the capacity of a rather substantial mining community.
Oh, you have a city, huh? Oh, well, isn't that lovely? I have a castle.
I lift him up. I could just go give you to some random bugbear.
Huh?
Or are you willing to listen to an opportunity?
I'll listen. I'm listening.
I let go. It's it seems that Rakim actually has influenced your wisdom in some ways. As I was saying, this city has the capacity for mines, but we have no miners. I would believe that you're not the only miner out of work.
Oh,
So,
after the Doer Guard came in here, we do seem to have more goblins out of work.
so here's an offer for you and your lot. Come work in our city.
I can't really speak for the lot, but I can speak for myself that as long as the chance of death is less than the chance of death here, I'm willing to go.
Once we've handled the undead threat, yes, it is.
Undead threat.
There are indeed undead roaming the upper lands at the moment. But that's one of the reasons why we came here to see if you guys were safe or in need of assistance.
Well, as far as I can tell, we're safe. I mean, we have some dinosaurs that come get a little bit too close, and there's some rhinoceroses and some apes and things, but nothing undead.
And that's at least something. So my offer still stands. I will offer you a cut of the profits to run the mine.
To run the mine. Well,
We could do it another way. You could give us a cut of the profit and just do it that way. Then you can do what, but the trade has to go through our city. So you have to pay the rights to the mine to mine any minerals in there, and the trade has to go through the city.
what kind of cut are we talking?
Well, tax will be about 10% to begin with until we get an established settlement and so on. We kind of need the money to get the resources we need and so on. After that, taxes might be lowered, but 10% seems like an easy number to figure out. I would say that 10% cut of the profit for the right to the mine would be a fair trade.
So you want me to pay? You want me to pay the licensing fee for the mine, and then give you 90% of its stake and pay the taxes out of my portion?
Apparently, you weren't paying attention. I said we would get a 10% cut, and then you would pay the licensing fee. Otherwise, you could get 10% and not pay a licensing fee, but the trade, everything you get out of the mine would technically be ours, not yours.
I suppose, yeah. The 10 give you 10%. I could arrange to have a few mining companies come prospect and open up a mine. How much would the fee be?
10%.
Well, the 10.
10% in tax. The mining fee would I would have to negotiate with my associate that's also in charge of the city, but I kind of look at Jinx. I might be able to give a rough estimate in time, but first of all, I would know if that was something that was enticing.
I gotta say that is enticing. Uh, I could probably drum up quite a few goblins who are interested. No bugbears, mind you. Don't I kind of have a aversion to their kind.
I laugh and just go, I can understand why, and I poke his ribs.
Kindly don't do that. But yes, that they are prone to violence, and they tend to, well, never ask questions. They're not smart enough to ask questions later. They just do the violence part, and that's it. No questions.
So as of right now, you're our guide here.
And as you're walking, you come across this large hole that divides the mossy path into two sections, and this hole has a staircase, a natural staircase of stone going down it, and it leads to a large stone platform. And there's lots of mostly children down there, and they're jumping into the water. And he says, "This is where we come for leisure. This is the swimming hole. It used to be where we mine, but it filled in with water, and so we just left it as a swimming area. It's rather safe, though." And he keeps walking with you, and he explains some of the cave system that is off to the side, either side of this cavern, and he tells you that the wargs are bred and trained on the left side, and then on the right side, the wolf pens, and he tells you that a lot of the goblins are caste systems, and the pariahs are the lowest members of the caste system, and so a lot of the smaller tents, and like for mostly people who do the menial work, like the miners, the mushroom growers, the gong farmers, they all live as pariahs in these small tents, these small communal tents. But then he talks about some of the conditions that they live under, like the water's relatively clean. The bugbears are the ones who kind of enforce the hobgoblins' orders. However, sometimes the bugbears take it upon themselves to enact their own orders without the permission of the hobgoblins, and it causes some tensions. And so, as you all are walking, then you pass the wolf pens, as I said earlier, and he points to a natural incline in the ground, and it goes from the mossy dirt floor to a just an actual proper dirt floor, and it raises up higher in elevation, and this path is probably about 500 feet in elevation as it slowly inclines. And he says up there is where most of the hobgoblins do their training. They train the goblins and the bugbears, but the hobgoblins themselves are the ones who are the security, and they walk around with their flails and walk in between the tents to ensure that they keep the crime down, and anybody who's punished is brought up to that level and dealt with there. And then, so after he pauses to see if you have any questions about that, he mentions that the all the trash pile for all the food scraps are also placed up there, and eventually it's turned into compost, which is then wheelbarrowed primarily by the young goblin children through the tent areas up into where the mushrooms are farmed, over near the old elven ruins.
Is it possible to see these mushroom
Yep,
farms?
yep. I'm going to zoom out the map here in a moment.
No, I'm asking. Asgrim is asking the Goblin.
Oh, yeah. He says yes. Of course, you'll be able to. You can if you wish to. You've been given access to the city, so it doesn't seem to be a problem unless you cause some type of issue where you'll be kicked out of the city, or if you're ever do some type of crime or something where you're wanted. But as of right now, you're able to go everywhere. He says. Then he kind of gives a whisper. He says, "But the bugbear territory." He says over there. He says you'll see that there's a bunch of buildings that are made out of a different type of. I think it's sand something. It's a stone made out of sand. He says,
Sandstone.
yeah. So that's most of those buildings were already here, and the bugbears kind of just assumed those as theirs. And so those buildings go further underneath the hobgoblins area. Like there's caverns in there, and it goes down a few levels. I've only been in there a few times, but you're not allowed to be in there. They kind of beat you up worse than I just was. If they find you there.
I turn to Jinx and say, "Well, I hope you keep that in mind."
And he says, "Yeah." He says, "Last time I was here, I got curious. I had to see what I could find down there."
Remember, you're in my service.
I know. I'm not gonna get in any trouble. I did find some good wine down there last time, but I'm not going. I'll be fine. The markets
But
we need to go to are up above that anyway.
well, you can turn off to the market when I go to speak to Atticus.
And then the goblin who is escorting you, Fred, says, "This district over here is, it's it's slaver territory, so we probably want to walk around this area here unless you want to be pickpocketed or become a slave yourself." And so he points to a large building in the middle and says that any slaves that are purchased for the purposes of work in the city are brought there.
Do you know what races are? what races of any of the current slaves in there are.
He's like, well, mostly they're people that have came here and have gambling debts, and so really any race that can be controlled is fair game. There's a few drow, not very many, but mostly we have halflings and humans, some kobolds, some Durgar who decided to give us some problems after refused to surrender.
Well, I got another assignment for you while I speak to Atticus. Your assignment is to go in there and figure out if any of the slaves has the ability to read and write multiple language, and have any scholarly abilities, preferably a female.
Okay, scholarly and female. Okay. uh okay, I could do that. Did you want me to give you the rest of the tour or leave you to your own devices?
Well, I need to speak to Atticus first, and then you can give us the tour. I'm very definitely interested in the mushroom mine farms.
Well, he points to the cliff face over on the right side, next to some type of temple structure, and he says, "Well, that staircase there leads up to the ruins. If you go ahead up that stairs, you'll eventually there's some farmland over there. You'll see that there's hundreds of goblins in that field over there, tending to the mushrooms." It's like, if you go to the right, you're going to end up in the ruins, and well, you could get lost in there. So, stay to the farms.
Well, there seems to be a misunderstanding here. As of right now, you're our guide. You have already been paid. So right now, you're gonna show us where the market is. He's gonna go to the market. Then you're gonna show me where I find Atticus, and then you're gonna go to the slave market and figure out if there's anyone that suits my purposes. And then you're gonna come back and wait for me by Atticus.
Fine, all right. It's all right. Well, we have to continue then past the bugbear territory. Over here, you get the spider hatchery. You don't want to go in there as you see a goblin who is chasing down some rather large rats in the street to catch them. And you see one of the young children has a rat by the tail and is bringing it into this cave that is cocooned off to the side of the cavernous side. And as you walk past that, there is a rather large, ornate looking building that, compared to all the other buildings, is very beautifully kept. And he points to that building and he says, any type of military assignments or any type of military plans are decided in that building there. He's like, the hobgoblin captains of their tribes and the Booyog, they all meet in there, and they all decide where we're going to move next if we happen to need to claim any territory, or as it were in the past, reclaim our own territory. And so you all walk past that, and up the opposite side of where the hobgoblins are, and it's divided essentially by a large cavern wall. that you could scale if you wanted to. However, you're about 400 feet up at this point above that area. And he says over there underneath that bridge there is the inn, and it's quite literally named Under a Bridge Inn. And he points to a mine hole. Well, it's a hole that is bored into the side that is propped up by some logs and things that are trying to support the structure. He says that's where the Duergar entered in through, and you can see indeed that there's quite a few hobgoblins by the entrance there that are facing towards that way to ensure that there are no further incursions. And there are goblins who are wheelbarrowing still wet concrete, and they're trying to seal off entrances within that entrance. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice already. And so he says over here, down here it's called Creation Row. And you can see that there's a lot of dark billowing smoke and this chalky taste permeating your mouth when you enter the area. And it's actually a little bit harder to breathe over here. But he says all of the inventions, all the poisons and trap making happens here. He says all the supplies that come into our city for that purposes are lined up here. And then over here we have the scrap heap. This is where all the stuff that hasn't been used or has been discarded gets placed here. All the gears and cogs that are broken, discarded tools, and anything that's in the scrap heap is anybody's for the taking if they wish to repurpose it and use it for what they need to. And he says that would, I assume, would include an invitation to yourselves, of course. And then he says, here in Creation Row is where you will find the bathhouse and the market. And he says, I'll meet you back here. He says to you, to Jinx, he motions Jinx over there to the markets. And he says to you, now you wish me to show you where the fungal farms are, or did you want to see the overgrowth?
Is the overgrowth where I will find Atticus?
And he says to you, yeah, Atticus has she likes to be alone up there, but she carries her inventions down here to the Creation Row. She gets her supplies down here and brings them up there. So she'll be along that route anywhere, but her shop is up there in the overgrowth.
Oh, it sounds like the likelihood of finding her in the overgrowth is larger than anywhere else. So.
All right, so he says to you, so how long did you plan to be here in the city?
As long as needed. And that really depends upon how well my talk with Atticus goes. But if you prove yourself useful, I will allow you to forego the first year of licensing fees for the mine. So if you prove useful to me and assist me well in my time here, it's beneficial to you.
All right. Well, I'm being as forthright with information as I can. I'm giving you everything I need. I know. Can't really do much more than that.
No, but it would also come down to other things like how you assist us when we go to the slave market, help us avoid getting pickpocketed and stuff like that.
And as you're walking, um, as you're walking from the Creation Row, you see that there is a rather large, imposing tower, uh, clearly not goblin made. But as you notice this tower, a rather large headache, a rather large headache befalls you rather rapidly, um, and and you hear and feel this gentle hum of the ground. You can feel some gentle vibrations emanating from this tower.
I do the classic, like put my hands on my forehead and then kind of like look down away from it and like, oh, whoa. I go to Fred. What's that tower?
You're like, well, we really don't know. We, uh, as far as I know, you can't get into it. There's no entrance to it, and it's been here as long as our town's been here, as far as I know. I really don't know too much about magic, but the Booyogs haven't been able to get in there.
Well, I might have to go take a closer look at that later.
Just be careful. It any attempts of magic seem to have just uh, backfired.
Oh, that wouldn't be the first time I put myself in that situation. Nor will probably be the last.
So you walk back down the path to the mossy path on the main level, and there are rather large cranes with rather large hooks and pulleys, and you know goblins with pickaxes and shovels digging around the surface of this large pit that has seemingly filled with water, and he tells you that a rather large silver deposit has been found just underneath the ground here, and they've been hastily digging at it, but the ground has been filling up with water faster than they can dig.
Hmm.
So you continue through the pathways that are in between every few sets of tents, and you can tell that even though these are just tents and everything, that this city easily has three or four times the population of Coventry, just in the sections that you've seen so far. And you eventually make your way to the natural stone staircase, and most of the stairs in this place are of the natural variety. They're just chiseled out of the side of the cavern itself, leading to different sections of cavern. And so you eventually get to the top of these large natural stairs, and there are indeed quite a bit of runes in various different states of decay, and you know you see the top of a what looks to be a pyramid jutting out of the surface of the ground with a lot of goblins and some hobgoblins who are carefully uh, examining the base of the structure where it meets the ground. And Fred points to the fields to the left, and you can see that there are intricate paths woven through this field of possibly hundreds of thousands different types of mushrooms. Most of them are purplish or grayish in tint, and there's a little bit of small grassy plants, but nothing that you would consider major. There's definitely no trees or anything like that. But this portion of the cave system does have more of the natural light shining through it than the other parts so far. And he says to you, well, these are the fungal farms, and then, well, here is where the Duragar settlement was prior to our city being founded here. Some structures still exist, but really there isn't too much Duragar population left, other than the previous invaders. But they live up here and tend to these buildings. And then over here to the left of the path, you have the spore heap. That's where all the old mushrooms and discarded plant matter, we pile it here, and then turn it and compost it, and that's how we're able to keep our fungal farms going. And then this is at this point the highest point of this cave that you've been to, and you can actually see the ceiling now of some of the cave systems from which below you couldn't have, because you've just been going up in elevation the entire time. And once you get to the top of this staircase, you see rather large, 50, 60 foot tall mushrooms, and they are they're not thick like as if they were trees, but there's definitely enough of them there that it's rather impressive, and a lot of different colors that you didn't see below because of the smoke and fog and things from all the factory work and things below. But up here, there's actually fresh air flowing through from the top right corner as the elevation still continues upward. And so all these mushrooms are on a path kind of sloping downward. And there is a pleasant waterfall running through this area that ends up pooling into a small pool that overflows another waterfall, and then the ground flattens there, and it collects itself into a rather large pond. And it has mushrooms growing all around this pond, and some of them are rather pleasant smelling. And for the first time in this cave structure, you actually see tufts of grass. Whether it be fresh grass, no, it's rather dying and yellowish grass. But there are areas where there is actual green grass growing, and you can see on top of one of the flat parts of the heads of the mushroom, an actual house up there, and you can see smoke billowing from from the fireplace, and it's coming out the smokestack, and it's has like a pleasant herbal smell to it. And Fred says, "Well, up there, that's where she be. She likes her solace, so that's fresh air and solace combined. She comes down every once in a while, like I said, to get supplies, but she mostly sends errand boys to cart her up supplies and cart down her creations. But I suppose it'd be okay that we go visit. As long as you have official business. I hear she has a temper."
Oh, I do have official business.
"Very well." And you see that there's a spiral pathway up one of the stony outcroppings here, and then the stony outcropping connects to a portion of that mushroom top, and you just walk across there like that to the log cabin that is located on top of the mushroom. And inside, you see that there is a blonde-haired elf, or excuse me, a blonde-haired goblin. What am I talking about? I'm tired too. A blonde-haired goblin, and she is working with some sort of tool and a monocle, and she's examining some type of bolt that goes into the side of. It looks like a artificial metallic leg of some sort, and you know, you can smell the pleasant smell of like cinnamon and garlics in the air. And she's like, "Oh, this has to be just right. Can't have an accident, just like last time." And um, she looks up, and then she notes, "Oh, hello. Did you need
Hello.
something?"
Yes, I was actually hoping you could help me with something. Or actually, you got recommended to me to help me with this task.
Oh, and as soon as you say recommended, she kind of perks up and listens. Oh, well, I love recommendations. Who recommended me?
Crispin of Carpentry.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what can I do for you?
I take out the plan and I hand it over to her. We would need.
You've come a long way. Coventry's a long way from here.
Well, I came here on another reason as well, so I'm just two birds, one stone, you know.
I see. Ah, so you're looking to make a vehicle.
Indeed.
I can definitely do that for you. What do you want it to be like just a land vehicle, or and how many passengers, and how long do I have to create this vehicle?
Well, I would like it to be large enough to accommodate two medium-sized humanoids with a little bit of storage, and as you see, some desks to do some work at, and a desk for my little pet. I take out the Rimuru and I take a piece of jerky and hand to Rimuru as well.
Yeah, Rimuru looks like rather hungry, and pulling it out, you can see that its size actually has shrunk just a bit, and it reaches its tiny little pseudopod up as it scoots its way slimily up a stick that's in the bottle, and
He's no longer in the
yeah,
bubble,
in the cage,
remember?
right in the cage, and it reaches out for the jerky and consumes it within itself. And so she says, "Well, that's quite a curious pet you have there."
And it looks like he's rather hungry, so I better give him a substantial meal, so I'm gonna give him a full ration.
And so she says to you, "All right, so a vehicle that fits two people, and it has a desk for stationery
Yes, and a
and
little bit of
storage
storage.
space." Okay. Can it have metal legs?
That would be fine. Whatever makes the...
Can it be resnium powered?
If that would be easier, then yes.
Okay. I think I have something I could make for you. There was something I've been working on. These metal legs here, actually for a vehicle, but I didn't have an order in place. So now that I have an order, I could go ahead and kill two birds with one stone, as you just said.
I smile and laugh.
Well, how long do I have to work on this vehicle, or do you need me to have it sent somewhere, or?
How long would it take you?
I could probably whip you up a very nice vehicle that would be worthy of someone of your stature in a week's time. unless I had some help, then I could probably do it in a bit less. If I had somebody to run me supplies back and forth and such.
I turn to Fred, and then I just smile.
I should have been kicked to death. Okay, fine. I will run the supplies for her. This is fair, I suppose. And then she says, okay, very well. And then there's a matter of payment.
Indeed.
I need to know, do you have your own resin crystals? Are you going to need a supply of them?
How many resonant crystals does it take to power it?
It depends on what you want it to do.
And basically, I just wanted to be able to get me from A to B, and then be capable of doing light transport across like rivers and such and lakes. So not larger open bodies of water.
Okay, so you don't need it to fly. You just want it to be able to walk over hard surfaces.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we can arrange this for. Do you need me have any? Do you want it made out of any special materials? Like have your own signature on it, like a one of a kind type vehicle.
That would be interesting, but I do not have any signet to speak of as of now. So.
Okay. Well,
But I would believe that it would be a rather unique vehicle, anyways.
well, yes, yes. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but if it's being commissioned by me, it's going to be rather unique. I don't take these on just for anybody. Too many times my inventions have gone to the wrong hands. But I think we can make you a nice vehicle here. If you could come back in 4 days, I will have you a very nice vehicle for 5,000 gold pieces.
I take out my the resonant crystal I have, and if I provide this,
Uh, that could be your initial power source. I mean, depending on how many, I mean, that's the base price. It depends how many resonant crystals you wanted additional with it as well. But
that again depends upon how long that would be able to power it.
well, it should be able to power each crystal should be able to power it for 1 month's time. I mean, depends on how much you use it, I suppose. But assuming 8 hours of travel, every single day, you should be able to get 1 month out of it easily.
Is there a way to recharge these crystals?
Well, there are resin crystals that can be recharged. Those are very exceptionally rare and even more exceptionally so expensive.
Expensive.
Yes.
So that's something I have to look into down the line.
You can find them out in the elements, but they are almost always guarded, and that also lends to their expensive nature. As these crystals are, well, they're rumored to come from the gods themselves, if you believe it. And so each of these crystals takes on a little aspect of the plane that it comes from. So they say.
Is one kind better at powering devices like this than others?
Well, it depends on if you're looking for fire, electric, if you're looking for necrotic, that power usually powers abyssal type things, but I mean, if you find yourself a nice piece of red fernium crystal, then you'll be able to have propulsion.
Oh, so fire-based ones.
Yeah.
So, is there any way to reduce the price just a little, because I'm a little short on funds?
Well, you can reduce the size of the vehicle by reducing the seating, or you could, make it so that maybe
What
the
if I help in the construction of the materials needed for it?
if you helped with the construction of some of the materials, then yeah, that could reduce the price. Um, but I mean, do you have large quantities of metal?
No, but I would assume that some of the metal you get from the scrap heap, and that would need to be reworked into something.
Well, I wasn't going to use any metal from the scrap heap, but if you did, you could substantially reduce the price of it. I wouldn't need your help in that case, but then your vehicle would also look like it probably came from the scrap heap.
Do you know of the spell fabricate?
Yeah, I've dabbled.
I have the ability to use the spell.
I see.
So I would be able to rework any of the metals into fine gears, if that's what you needed, and springs and the like, since I am a skilled jeweler.
Yeah, I can see how that would come in handy. Very well, then you can take your time over there at the scrap heap and make some various cogs and gears. I will bring specifications via a runner to you, and then will probably be able to cut down the time of the vehicle a little bit further yet, and you shall have a cheaper vehicle.
That indeed sounds like a workable solution for me.
All right. Well, then, very well. Take 1,000 gold pieces off the price of the vehicle. You shall have yourself a vehicle for 4,000 gold.
So it goes from 4,000 to 3,000, right? You said 4,000 before. That's why I was interested in reducing the price, because I only have 3,000.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then, it's 3,001. Yes, it's 3,000.
Well, I put 3,000 goals on the table, and then for the next few days, that's what I will be doing, because I want this vehicle.
Okay, and then all right. So then for next session, for before next session, I'll make you a vehicle. We can work that out, what it looks like and things like that, and generally, just because it has to fit only two people, so a little bit of leeway with it. But yeah, we'll get that done, and the group they're going to be short-handed for Saturday, so they're not playing Saturday. So we could probably potentially get one more session in sometime next week.
That sounds good.
All right. All right. Well, I am going to make shirts with my friend to pay them back for letting me DoorDash in their car. So I'll be printing and making shirts.
Well, that can actually be a fun experience, so enjoy.
All right. Catch everybody later. Thanks for watching.
Have a good one, folks.